Welcome back to the High Tea Podcast. To conclude our first series, Tommy Rhee will be sharing his favorite memories and important lessons he learned while working with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
So, how did you get to the NFL level with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Like, how did that opportunity kinda happen for you?
I was known in Tampa as, a sports doctor, and I worked with elite athletes. I think during that time they had a shift. They fired the coaching staff along with the medical staff. So they were looking for a whole set of new doctors along with their coaches. So they got the coaches and then they needed a specialized person in what I did was just ART, active release technique, chiropractic. So they reached out to me and they talked to me about, becoming a doctor. Now here's a funny thing. So I'm thinking no big deal. Like I said, all right, well, I'm a easygoing guy. Like when you see me around my office, I'm wearing flip flops, shorts, and a polo shirt. So it's not like a formal place. I treat everybody like an athlete, but then my place in there it has to be like almost like I feel like I'm grounding myself with the barefoot thing, right? So I go to the Buccaneers, and I don't think it's an interview. I think they just want to talk to me. Well, come to find out, there are people there in suits, and it's a job interview. And here I am with my lazy attitude because I'm just easygoing. I'm in this meeting, and I get inside of this little interview, and the first thing they go, "Why are you not dressed up?" I said, "Huh?" That threw me off. So I think that might have took their guard down, saying that all right, this guy is not into the hype of the team. And because I've been around athletes, I don't appear to be what they call like one of those like those autograph seeking kind of doctors. And then once they saw my resume, they knew what I can do. It became easy process from that point on.
And when exactly did you work with the Bucks?
It was 2015.
So, you weren't there for the Super Bowl, right?
I was out. I left at 2018.
Were the Bucks good when you were working with the team?
We had potential. I think we had, just like anybody else, we lose like less than 3 points a game. We just didn't have that little final click in there. So there's one year that we looked great. We had everything fired up, but we had bad luck. Number one, we had hard knocks. When you have
Mhm,
hard
it is a
knocks in there,
curse.
that's a curse. Then we had a hurricane come. So we had two things going on. So right away that set us off. But our first couple games, and we just looked strong. We looked great. And then, believe it or not, we always lost because of that extra point, and we had that kicker, And then I don't say too much, but it was just a bad combination of these little factors that just didn't make us in Super Bowl contender.
I'm sure, yeah, I mean, being an NFL fan of any franchise is tough. No one's good for very long. Everyone gets hurt. Like, even with the Eagles, they won the Super Bowl so recently, and then last year was another collapse, so I definitely know what you mean about
Eagles.
my personal favorite, when I was younger, five-year-old me really loved the Eagles colors, so that's why I'm an Eagles fan.
Have you been to a home game?
Never.
You got to experience it.
I'm
Experience it.
sure. I will go sometime soon. I'm definitely super excited for that. Are there any specific games when you were working with the Buccaneers that you recall, like, a specific moment that was just super euphoric and super, like, exciting?
So this is my protocol when I do these away games. Home games are easier. Home games are simple, but when you're doing an away game, it's the flight, it's the limited time that you have to be with yourself. It's a Sunday game at 1 o'clock, so you fly out Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. You land, you check into the hotel, and then you have your dinner, and the team all have their separate meetings, and then then you'll go out that night with the team or your medical staff and you have dinner. And next day is a early rise. You want to get to the stadium by 8 in the morning, and then you're prepping up. And then after the staff gets there, here comes the team. They come trickling in. Everybody wants therapy or warm or stretch or ART right at the same time. So depending on the stadium and the environment, if it's large enough, some stadiums they have the facility where it's a large area where you can have a bunch of like people and you have the room to move people around for stretching. But there are stadiums that are very small, limited, and then you're forced into unique positions or places to do this kind of like like stretching or chiropractic, whatever they want. I forgot what stadium, the old stadium, one of the old stadiums. We had no place to go, and the only place that I saw fit to go to have the space there was the bathroom. A typical bathroom, you have, the commodes, right? You have the
Mhm.
toilets, and then over there is a shower, and over here is your urinals, and here I am in the middle. And that's the only space that's in the small locker room that I can kind of work with these guys. So the tough thing is that when it's like an hour or an hour and a half before the game starts, everybody wants to get warmed up. They want to feel good. They want to get that nice kind of like the joints all like loose before they go out and warm up on their own. So we're probably like 15 guys deep, all the whole offensive line, defensive line, some DBs, everybody's in there lining up. Well, here's a tough thing. Everybody has their pregame ritual. Some use the bathroom, some do this. So we got guys in there doing, I don't want to get too graphic, but we got people in the bathroom doing everything in there. Then you got guys that do the shower, and then when they do the shower, they turn the hot water on. So now you've got the steam and this hot water because people want to cook in there. So we've got that. Then you got the steam, the sauna setting around me. Now you got the guys in the bathroom doing their duty there. So you got that aroma going on that side. You got the steam on this side, and everybody's waiting around, and it's just one big mess. And I'm sitting there, I'm sweating. I feel like the smell is on me. So when you talk about like what game do I remember? I don't really remember games. I just remember this smell and this feeling right here. And then I get in the sideline and it's like, okay, now what do I do here? So I have to work on a couple guys here. But it's like I already been beat up before the game. And so during the game is like relaxing. So I'm just enjoying the ride and seeing what's going on out there.
I'm sure. So it's definitely another super interesting story, I will say. It's not something that you would like normally expect out of a football team, but sometimes you got to adapt, and that's definitely an adaptation, I would say. So, kind of pivoting a little bit to in-game atmosphere and what that was like. What did you kind of notice about the competitive atmosphere of pro sports when you were there?
Here's a funny thing. So I've seen sports from all the way from like pee wee football, middle school, high school, college, professional. It's all the same. It depends on how they approach the prep work or their game. Some are real relaxed and they play well relaxed. Some are real focused and angry all the time. Some are just in their little zone. There's like different types of caliber of their focus. You'll see the top athletes, they're the most relaxed guys and they just go out there and perform and they just feel better when they're like kind of like not thinking about the game. Where some guys, they have to focus and they're just tunnel vision and they're into it. So it all depends on how they were like adapted into that stressful moments.
So, what did you notice about famous Jameis is his name now, but what did you notice about his kind of work ethic and like the caliber that it takes to be an NFL quarterback?
Let me tell you, Jameis Winston, he and I were the rookies at the same time. So we came in together. Great friend of mine, great ethic. I mean, you're talking about someone who's strong, works hard, and really focuses on everything from just not only from the plays, team, workouts, but really the locker room environment. So when it comes to him and quarterback, it's kind of interesting because you want that leadership in all aspects, not only by, showing by examples of how hard I work, but also like show by like relationship wise, like, hey, I got your back. I know you in a personal level. Let's battle this game together. So he really knew how to like command every angle when it comes to leadership.
It's definitely super interesting to hear. I think being a quarterback in any aspect is really challenging, and to make it to the professional level is definitely a goal that I know a ton of people share, and that's why it's so important when just a couple people make it. Okay, so if you could go back in time to like high school you, what advice would you give?
Here's a funny thing. Everything was meant for a reason. So if I were to change something, I don't think I'd be sitting here. I had to go through all the adversity. I had to go through, I mean, it was tough. Like when I grew up in Tampa, Florida, like this is back in the 70s and 80s. How many Asians were there in Tampa, Florida? Not much. So I had a rough time with this little world here. If I could go back, you know, I say just hang in there. I really don't want to change anything about that person because it kind of transformed me into this person. So.
And that concludes our series with Dr. Tommy Rhee. In our following episodes, we will be discussing how technology, changing attention spans, and increased academic pressure is reshaping the way students learn. This is the High Tea Podcast.